Welcome here to our Niners audio podcast here on Niners Radio. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. We're talking to a man who's our special guest behind enemy lines. Your San Francisco 49ers getting ready to take on the Philadelphia Eagles down at the Mecca at Levi Stadium for Sunday Night Football. It will be a 5:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff that will be on NBC, which is preceded by Football Night in America. And then the game will be at Levi Stadium, and Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle DeFoy will give you the call. Niners and Eagles. We have a special guest on the line. He's a man, a Philadelphia institution. He works for a pregame on WIP 94. Have a show Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time, and a show Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's an Emmy Award winner, national TV, radio. Also is on the Sports Sunday and Game Day Live on Fox 29, WTXF TV in Philadelphia. He also was a long time, worked at KYW3 back in the 80s, as well as WC at NBC 10 in Philadelphia. His name is Howard Eskin. How you doing, Howard?
I'm just great. I've never had a bad day in my life.
Oh, great. So what is the mood in Philadelphia? I mean, after the Eagles are coming in there limping and have a lot of injuries going in this game this Sunday night against the 49ers, who also have their share of injuries as well. And just give us what's been going on there in Philadelphia.
Well, fans obviously are not very happy, especially when you play a tie at home against Cincinnati.
Oh.
A tie almost feels like a loss.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're not happy campers right now because the team has not won a game this year, and they played. I guess you could say they had their moments of poor play in every one of the games. So they're not real happy here in Philadelphia.
Oh, you got to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I think the 2-0, it's 0-3-2 in their last 5 meetings. They did tie them back in some 12 years ago. And the controversy of that game was when Donovan McNabb didn't even know the game ended in a tie after in a regular season game that ended in a tie. That was very controversial as well.
Well, yeah, he didn't know the rules, but trust me, there's other players that didn't know the rules back then either. But he was the quarterback, so I assume he should have known the rules. But everybody knew the rules here. You had a 10-minute overtime. You score a touchdown first, the game's over.
Yep.
If you don't, anybody after that can kick a field goal in the game, and neither team could do either. So it was not a great game, especially being played here in Philadelphia.
Right, because I was watching, I was following the Niners-Giants game. That game had just ended. I flipped it to the Raiders and Patriots game. That game just ended, and CBS switched it to that bonus coverage out here, and watched that debacle. The Eagles getting that cheap offside penalty that would have gave Elliott a chance to hit a game-winning field goal, and by conflicting reports, it was not even no wind. And he had been money in the bank for the Eagles.
Yeah, it still would have been a 59-yard field goal.
That's a hard field goal,
yeah. Yeah, you can't have a motion penalty or a false start or whatever you want to call it on that play. You got to give him a chance, and it was pathetic that happened. I guess that was just a crap or some of the other bad things that happened. But turnovers are what's killing the Eagles. That's the biggest problem right now.
Yeah, they've also had some injuries, though. The Niners, of course, had their share of injuries. Of course, Nick Bosa, the defensive rookie of the year last year, he's done for the season, tore his ACL. Him and Solomon Thomas both blew out their knees at the Meadowlands against the Jets over 10 days ago. They've had their share of injuries. The Eagles have Dallas Goedert with an ankle, former Deshaun Jackson, former Cal Berkeley star, with a hamstring. And then Avonte Maggs with an ankle. Jason Peters was carried off the field as well. So the Eagles are just a banged up unit.
Well, they're going to miss Dallas Goedert at tight end for sure. He's out for at least 3 weeks. They're going to miss their first-round draft pick, wide receiver Jalen Reagor. He's out for at least 3 more weeks. So it's just Monte Maddox in the secondary, but it's the offensive players. Jason Peters will be fine. And Deshaun Jackson, who knows whether he'll be okay to play a full game. Hasn't played a full game yet. So that's a problem too.
And then and plus they've also Lane Johnson. He's still out though as well. He's been injured. The offensive line been depleted, and
Lane Johnson's going to play.
Okay.
But they still have an offensive line that has some challenges. They have 2 players at both guard positions that did not start the season at those positions. So. Because of injuries. Everybody's had injuries, but it just seems everybody has had injuries. No, they haven't had enough training camp time, and I think that's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
But regardless of all that, you still got to go out there and play. If they don't turn the ball over, they win at least 1, maybe 2 of those games. But they turn the ball over. That's the problem.
It doesn't get any better for the Eagles after this Sunday night's game because they have the Battle of Pennsylvania Keystone State rights with Pittsburgh the following week. Then they play Baltimore, former Eagles assistant under Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, who was the brother of former 49ers head coach Jim Harbaugh, home against Baltimore. Then you got the Giants and the Cowboys actually, in fact, 3 after this road game. These 2 road games, they're 3 straight at home, and 2 of the 3 teams have winning records. Correction, at least, the Ravens, one of them, and then you got the Giants and the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, the 49ers, what are they, 2-1, the 49ers?
Yes, they're 2-1. Yeah.
Okay, and then they play Pittsburgh, who's got are they 3-0 or 2-0?
They are 3-0. I think they're 3-0. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then of course you got the Ravens, and then the Cowboys have a losing record, and the Giants have a losing record.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any difference. The Eagles have to play better, regardless of what the other teams do. The Eagles have to play better, and that's what it comes down to.
And what has happened to the NFC East? It's been like the most inferior division in all of football. Vice versa, the Niners, the NFC West is considered the best division in football.
Well, the NFC sucks. That's what it comes down to. It's a bunch of bad teams. Mm-hmm. So the Eagles actually have a chance. As badly as they played, they actually have a chance because they're only a half a game behind the first place team. So, but they got to get it together, and they've got to play better. There's no question.
Yeah, and it also, of course, what it's been since the Eagles winning the Super Bowl for the first time, it meant so much for a lot of Eagle fans. I was pulling for you guys. I was happy for Philadelphia, those fans finally getting that Super Bowl a couple of years ago when they finally beat the New England Patriots, and the emotion for a lot of Eagle fans who have had their near misses, and what was that feeling like when the Eagles won that first Super Bowl?
Well, it was an amazing experience for me because I was on the sidelines for that game, as I am for every game except this year. We're not on the sidelines.
Oh yeah, nobody is. No.
Yeah, but it was an amazing experience. It was maybe one of the best, if not the best, Super Bowl game from excitement from end to end that was played. So it was really good. It was really good. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I'll put that Super Bowl you guys win right up there with the Montana Bengals comeback of Super Bowl 23, which is my favorite because I grew up at that time in the 80s, and that was Montana doing this thing as comeback. It's right up there with that Super Bowl win against the Bengals in January of '89. But I did get a chance to watch the parade online, and it was like school was out in Philadelphia when they won that Super Bowl. They had to shut down the city for several days. It was like they finally got over the hump, and they travel very well too. Eagle fans travel very well.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. They'll travel this year when there's games or there's teams that allow fans in there. I don't think any fans should be in there. If you don't have it in all the stadiums, you shouldn't have it in any of the stadiums.
Yeah.
So that's wrong. But wherever they allow fans, those Eagles fans will find a way to get there.
Yeah,
because I don't think
fans, yeah.
I don't think they'll have fans in Philadelphia all season. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think I've been reading a lot of that though too. And then Niner fans do travel well though too. They on numerous occasions have traveled back east when the Niners play those big road games. So unfortunately, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I probably either wanted to go to either New York or go to or Foxborough to check out the Niners and Patriots. But I'm gonna have plenty of opportunities down the road. But it's a great experience. The Eagles finally winning that title. This year is their 60-year anniversary of that NFL championship game at the old Franklin Field in Philadelphia.
Yep, I was there. I was a little kid when I was there. First game I ever went to. So it was. I won't forget that game either.
It's funny.
But,
yeah. It's funny, in 1960, that same year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That's the same year when Candlestick Park opened for the Giants and Willie Mays. And, Mays was the best around player. I bet you grew up in the 60s following Willie Mays when the Phillies played the Giants at the old Connie Mack Stadium in Philadelphia. And also, Buck Shaw, who was the head coach of that Eagles team, of that championship team in 1960, was the original head coach of the 49ers when they played their first several seasons in 1946, though, in that inaugural year for the 49ers in 1946. So there's a lot of Bay Area and Philadelphia parallels, though, as well.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't remember it back that far, so that's hard enough. I wouldn't remember it back that far.
Yeah, but it's kind of a little historian, though. But, yeah. But the key, what's going to be the key for tonight, for Sunday night's game against the 49ers? Because this is kind of a must-win situation for the Eagles. I mean, you get a tie, you didn't lose, but I think for Bengal fans, you treat it as a win. For Eagle fans, you treat that like a loss.
That's correct. But the key is like it is every game. You can't turn the ball over. You've got to stop the run, and you've got to get pressure on the quarterback. It's really kind of basic. Football, it's not rocket science with football. It's not easy to do all the time, but it's not rocket science. Those are the things that you have to do. And if they do those, then the Eagles have a chance. Yeah,
and the Niners are getting some people back. Deebo Samuel will be activated this Sunday, and they get some people back, though, on the offensive side. But what are your thoughts of the 49ers and your as a national for nationally? What are your thoughts on the 49ers and what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done?
Well, I think John Lynch is a terrific general manager on what he's done. I think John is a very, very, very smart football guy. Kyle Shanahan, I'm not sure about yet. I don't like how he screwed up the Super Bowl for the Falcons. They should have beaten the Patriots, but his play calling at the end was a disgrace. But so I don't know. I know he's a bright guy, but I really think the world of John Lynch as a general manager. But teams that lose the Super Bowl are not as good the next year. It's amazing how that happens. And so I don't know that the 49ers aren't going back to the Super Bowl. I just don't think there's any way.
Well, they're in a tough NFC West, but I will say this, as you have followed the Eagles for all the years, you know it very well when with the whole T.O. situation back in 2005 after they lost to the Patriots, you knew, and we all knew, I kept the top of that story throughout the entire time when T.O. was in Philadelphia, excuse me, when everything fell out between him and Donovan McNabb.
Yep, it was, T.O. was great for the Eagles. As great as he was, he tore him apart the next year.
Yep.
He just created a division in the locker room. It was not a good thing. But he certainly did a hell of a job that year. created a lot of excitement, and well as he played, they still didn't win the Super Bowl. But
Yeah, they don't remember.
It's too bad that he.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's too bad he screwed things up.
Yeah, I mean, T.O., I mean, he did great things for the 49ers. I mean, and think when he, when he left to go to Philly, things just didn't quite work out, and some of the comments he said about him, McNabb, he the one wasn't getting sick. This was after the Super Bowl and all that. That time when things just really snowballed and just it didn't bode well for the fans. But one thing, but T.O., he did get inducted to the 49er Hall of Fame last year, and
Yep.
they've had patched things up though. They have patched things up, and Kyle and John, they've done a great job turning that team around where they were 4 or 5 years ago after the debacle with Harbaugh, and then when Trent Baalke, the former general manager, and I got your thoughts about Chip Kelly and his time in Philadelphia.
Well, I get along with Chip, and still to this day. However, I don't think he was a good head football coach in the NFL. We'll see if he can ever get back to the success he had at Oregon, at UCLA. You got to have players. But as a pro coach, Chip just didn't make it. So
No.
It was an interesting experience, but Eagles knew that he wasn't going to be a pro coach. And then he goes to the 49ers. He just wasn't a good pro football head coach.
Oh, there was a lot more things, combination of other things as well, Howard. I mean, it was, a dissension in the locker room. I mean, front office issues.
Yep.
Trent Baalke had really burnt bridges with Jim Harbaugh. It was an ugly 3-ring circus. Players were getting arrested, breaking run-ins with the law, the whole Alden Smith thing. Now he's with Dallas, and I'm glad he's doing well. And then, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan has done, getting the Niners back to that level where they were with, during the days of the Bill Walsh era. That was kind of my childhood in the 80s and George Seifert era, 80s and 90s, getting back to that winning, to that environment. And they have done a great job so far. I mean, even though they lost the Super Bowl, despite that disappointment, they're going to be in that conversation for years to come. They've just signed him and Kyle and John Lynch to long-term contract extensions. So they're set though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just we'll see. I mean, it's just you have only so many opportunities to be good enough to get to the Super Bowl. It's really, I can see how hard it is. Just what I've seen with the Eagles, for sure.
Yeah, I know how I feel. It's just harder because it's not like it was before the salary cap, because rosters change every year. And, before the salary cap, the Niners, Montana, Rice, Ryan Lott, Dwight Clark, and Roger Craig and that group was winning back-to-backs, and Dallas started to win back-to-backs in the early 90s, and then this whole new era of free agency with the salary cap. It's so the cap it's a hard cap. I mean it's the pie doesn't get any bigger, and if you get a bigger slice and someone else get the smaller size, that's just not fair. It's not right. So that's the purpose of sustaining not having long dynasties. But if you're the Patriots, if you do the right thing, drafting and make the right decisions, then as long as you're playing within the rules of the NFL, then that shouldn't be a problem.
Yep, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
Well, Howard, I gotta thank you for being on the show. I mean, it's still the season is 3 weeks in. There's nowhere else to go but up. And thank you for being on our podcast. I know a lot of people when I post this up, a lot of people are going to be very interested to hear your thoughts about this Sunday's game, and your thoughts about both the Eagles and the 49ers. And we thank you and hope to have you on in the foreseeable future.
Okay, you got it.
Thanks, Howard.
Take care.
Okay.
You got it. Have a great day.
That's Howard Eskin. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. This is Niners Radio Podcast on Niners Radio.